So for the next example, I thought it'd be good to do something outside the box, not in terms of being something that's never been done before, but outside the box in terms of stretching AI to its limits. I thought it'd be really fun to take something that dealerships go through all the time in terms of hiring, like we touched on in previous sessions we've done, but really go about doing it in a way that's going to better prepare the salesperson for success. So as I'm sharing my desktop, you can see that we have Erin. She's our HR expert, and I like to use Erin to help create different training scenarios. She has all that knowledge that's really built to not only make sure things are structured very, very well, but do it in a way to make sure that, one, it's compliant, and two, is that it meets all the best practices in terms of how to set up the criteria for success. So with that in mind, you can see here there's a lot of attachments, and I'll talk about that here in a second. As Erin, my dealership is considering a new onboarding process for freshly hired salespeople. Our historic process is varied from manager to manager, with some taking a hands-on approach, some using job shadowing, while others just handed the salesperson a pile of brochures and directed them from their desk. We are struggling with getting consistent use out of our CRM, VIN solutions, as well as developing product knowledge. We would like to create a 30-day plan that is mostly self-directed by the new hire. We probably bring on 2 to 3 new hires every 90 days. We would like to cut back on that significantly. What we envision is a 1-week intensive training course that would allow us to understand if we have a good fit. We'd like to create an evaluation at the end of that 5 days. If the new hire passes, we would then slowly integrate them into the showroom activities and dedicate more managerial time. I've attached the metrics we use to track the performance of our phone calls, internet team, and showroom team. I've found this video from VIN Solutions. It might be a good place to start. So I actually kind of almost overloaded it in the very beginning. Normally I would do a lot more back and forth, but just for the sake of example, I wanted to show you all the things that you can incorporate in that initial first response. I've attached those different bits of criteria so they can take a look and see what we want to accomplish. It's going to ask me a question right off the get-go. This is the normal kind of back and forth we would see when using one of the agents. But again, just for the sake of demonstration, I'm going to kind of cut her off a little bit and kind of direct things just for the sake of example. So, and I say, hey, great question. Many fail to understand the value of a consistent process and use of the CRM. Let's see an example before we go over any more questions. So I then essentially told it to go through and review all the information that's available and to start building out an example process so that way we can make some future iterations based on additional information if we need to. So here is day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. It breaks all these things down and lets us know, hey, these are all the things that we should be covering on those days. Very, very simple. And with anything, again, we can always ask it to drill down and provide more specifics. It's just going to give us a broad overview right now. So it's going to ask me another question. So based on metrics you've shared from your phone, internet, and showroom teams, which specific areas do you feel need the most improvement for new hires? So I tell it, new hires typically fail for 1 or 2 reasons. Poor CRM usage justifies their work, often amplified by bad behaviors learned from other salespeople or a former job, or poor consistent written communications with the customers. Can you dive deeper into day 2? So I asked it to take one of those different days and to make it more specific. So now it's given me, here's an hour by hour plan essentially to incorporate these different key things that we need to add in there. So we can see there, introduction dealership sales process, role of the CRM, written communication standards, CRM workflow mapping exercises, creating, updating customer profiles. And it's taking that link I used to VIN Solutions and actually building in those specifics using that link. Here's kind of a synopsis at the end of day 2, and I tell it what I'll do next just simply by saying 1. So it's going to take the first thing that I offered on that day, and it's going to actually break that down and give me that detail that I want. So here's the CRM workflow mapping exercise, creating, updating customer profiles, mastering VIN solutions. And so it's going to go step by step by step to make that more specific. Because I have Erin starting out with this, I'm going to actually ask Susan, the salesman, if she sees anything that needs to be added to this. So it's going to take her expertise now and layer that upon Erin's expertise and make sure that there's nothing that we're skipping. And Susan chimes in, hey, there's not anything about mobile CRM usage, integration, inventory management, data analytics, compliance, customer experience focus, gamification and competition, cross-departmental communications, common pitfalls and troubleshooting. She found a lot of things that are very, very specific to that showroom dynamic that Erin may not have picked up on. all these agents are actually experts in their field, and they've all been trained on how to do things for retail automotive. But that's the advantage of having specific expert agents, is a lot of times they may come up with things that other agents may not. And that's the value of creating a team of these experts, just like you'd have inside your office or inside your boardroom. You have people who understand both the domain and the various specifics to help make it better with a more diverse approach in terms of how to accomplish things. So I said, hey, these are great points. Let's reincorporate that into the plan. And here we go. So now we not only have Aaron's process, we have Nation, but now we have Susan's input as well to make this in terms of the things we get. So, here we can see all the different exercises, all the different things it's creating, all the different time frames it should take, all the things that we should be incorporating into those things. And having seen all this and probably read some of your minds, I put, hey, the managers are really busy here. Can you play the part of the customer in the role-playing exercises? So one of the things it said for option 12 was role-playing. And so what I asked it to do essentially is to be the role player and to create the different scenarios. So this goes through that setup and how that would be done. And so when you would want to implement this, you could again go scenario 3. Can you break this down for me? It'll go line by line by line in terms of what you have to do. So this is just going to give you the broad strokes. And again, I keep trying to keep this brief for the sake of example, but rest assured this is something where if you want to turn the system loose and have it start training people on your behalf, you can give it the instructions and it's going to do that for you. So this is excellent. Let's go back to the 5-day plan. Can you give me an example of what the day 5 written test on CRM functionality and dealership processes would be like? I would like a new hire to complete this within an hour. So I wanted to, again, have it create this test for me. Here's a 1 hour, 100-point test that it's going to design for us using, multiple choice and, other different things, short answer and so on and so forth. So these are the example questions. This is great. Can you create this example test for us and give us the answers? So now it's going to take all the things we've incorporated it, including the things that we gave it from Vin Solutions, and it's action to go. Here's all the questions. Here's all your multiple choice. And we keep scrolling down and we'll see all those questions, and now we can see all the answers. So now we have a turnkey solution that we've developed in just a matter of minutes, honestly, where we can actually cover up all of our blind spots for the most part, create a basic structure for this, and then if we want to take this example as a management team and go through this, then we can go through and make those tweaks that are maybe relevant to our dealership in particular. But now we've taken something that might take weeks or months to create, and we did it in the matter of an afternoon, essentially. And so this is one of those examples of where we start with an idea and we can take it all the way to the nth degree in terms of that specificity. But the one thing I will say is that most dealerships can take advantage of this, and one of the things that I feel like we really emphasize here with AutoAgentic is that we don't want to replace people, we just want to make them better. So this is one of those great examples where we can take the system, give it to our best people, and extend their abilities to make them the best version of themselves.